the program. Of course, I also want to adopt the protocol that has been ably established before me. Save, I must express my special delight at having my friend and colleague, Prime Minister from Antigua and Barbuda, Mr. Gaston Brown, here with us. Could we give him a special round of applause and welcome? Equally, I want to recognize and salute the members of Cabinet who are all here, save for those who are attending official business abroad. And of course, I want to especially thank those of the diplomatic corps who are visiting from yonder to be here and to share in this historic and important conference which is being initiated in St. Kitts and Nevis. I, of course, acknowledge the distinguished representatives of government, the clergy, the business community, headed by its president, and all who are here, special invitees all. I want to thank you for taking time out to come and be part of this historic event. And I am indeed grateful to my colleagues of Dominica and Grenada, who have all ensured that there is representation from their citizenship by investment unit. And so we have come today together to explore opportunities to build a more robust architecture based on our joint commitments to greater transparency, enhanced credibility and efficiency in our citizenship by investment programs. I would want to publicly thank the entire IPSA team, and in particular Don, who has been chairing this conference. This conference is intended to provide a conducive and private environment for participating countries in the CBI program in the Caribbean to come together and to speak freely about the reality and the imperative for regional response to the expanding citizenship by investment industry. Participants have taken time away from their regular routine to listen, to reflect, to gather insights and advise Quo Vadis this industry. We are grateful for IPSA's hard work and diligence in bringing this conference to fruition. And I'm aware that several efforts were made in the past to bring this to reality. It did not happen then. A fresh start, it is happening now. My thanks goes out also to the President of the Chamber of Industry and Commerce for his remark. The Chamber, in my government's view, has been a consistent friend of and a steadfast advocate for the business community, and we are glad that they are here with us. We are delighted that representatives from Canada, the European Union, the United Kingdom, and the United States, and their various high commissions and embassy to Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean states are here with us today. They are acutely aware of the fundamental importance of the citizenship by investment programs to our socioeconomic development, and likewise of the significance we attach to our partnership and friendship with them. We take our citizenship by investment program quite seriously, but no more so than our responsibilities to our nationals and to our international partners and friends. We in St. Kitts and Nevis promise that our reform efforts shall lead to a product that can stand the test of scrutiny, the test of accountability, and of course, the test of time. We are, as you know, and I have reiterated and emphasized this many times since assuming office, that my government is fully committed to working closely and strategically with you as we strengthen our CBI program and simultaneously address your present and future concerns. We will ensure that our program represents the best of our country, the best of its values, its aspirations, and its obligations. We understand and we are ready to promote genuine and sustainable opportunities for all of our citizens and residents. And importantly, St. Kitts and Nevis will take all legal means available and necessary to frustrate anyone intent on undermining the security and democratic institutions and values of St. Kitts and Nevis, as well as our friends and partners. Although this is well established, it bears repeating. St. Kitts and Nevis was a pioneer in this field, and it continues to have one of the most successful international citizenship by investment programs. It has played a meaningful and can play a transformative role in the development of opportunities and the economy of our Twin Island Federation. An IMF report of recent vintage indicates that the fees from the CBI account, and I quote, an increasingly large amount of budgetary revenue from about 1% of total revenue in 2007 to 22% in 2012, and an estimated 37% in 2013. Revenues were further increased by investment proceeds from the SIDF of about 1.1% of GDP over the period 2010 to 2012, end of quote. Without this option, the St. Kitts and Nevis socioeconomic experience would have been dramatically different. So I don't have to convince you that the Cabinet is in full support of this program. Programs such as these, properly set up and appropriately administered and policed, can be an important national asset and vehicle for much needed foreign direct investment. It can also become a potent driver of employment and can contribute to the sustainable growth of our national economy. They can provide the resources for sustaining our debt reduction efforts, modernizing our public infrastructure, supporting indigenous and local entrepreneurship, and create a pool of resources for the inevitable rainy day or rainy days. In St. Kitts and Nevis, the CBI program represents roughly 30+% of our annual revenue. Essentially, it is a pillar in the foundation of this country's unique future and prosperity. However, these programs may rise and fall on a simple ideal called trust. And as we all well know, trust can be a scarce commodity. We may build and consolidate it with years of hard work, only to lose it in an instant. When trust is squandered, ladies and gentlemen, regaining it can be difficult and lengthy. But the trust that attends this business has many components. As governments, it is incumbent on us to put in place the best regulatory frameworks to protect the system against abuse. We must promote transparency and integrity at all levels. We need robust legal, administrative, and oversight firewalls to make sure that only the best candidates ever become citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis. It requires service providers, advisors, property developers, and agents to abide by strict codes of conduct and practice based on common agreed and verifiable standards. Governments must work together, and we must share best practices. We should never shy away from competition. Genuine competition is great for the marketplace, and there is enough legitimate business for everyone. Competition should never distort our thinking to the extent that we fail to appreciate the value of working together, and neither should it engender a race to the bottom nor a market for lemons. The ideals of citizenship, coupled with the pursuit of genuine business opportunities, are laudable and should never be reduced to the notion of a mere sale of passports. This is not the business in which St. Kitts and Nevis is interested. We must never allow the false and belittling narrative that some attribute to this industry to define our products and our countries. We must raise the canvas of discourse. If we do not like what others are saying, then we must change the conversation by introducing new regulatory and corporate governance software that force others to view and regard our products and services differently. If we fail to act responsibly and appropriately, we allow the detractors to belittle and mischaracterize the legitimate aspirations of our people, who have long recognized and rationalized the value and importance of combining opportunities with lifestyle. What we in St. Kitts and Nevis will demand and expect is quite simple. We want and we will work with a coalition of the willing to promote greater transparency, good corporate governance, efficiency, accountability, integrity, and exclusivity of our products. Friends, I must hasten to confess to you that yes, when I assumed the office of Prime Minister of this, my beloved and beautiful St. Kitts and Nevis, the extent of my dismay multiplied. Why, you may ask? Simply because I was troubled by the fact that my country, which pioneered this space in 1984, or more than 3 decades ago, found itself in a place where it still lacked the requisite systems and processes fundamental to the long-term success and strength of our CBI program. I was concerned too by the IMS assessment of the risk to economic growth and their premonition of, and I quote, a sudden and rapid diminution of inflows into the CBI program, including changes in the visa-free access of citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis. I decided immediately that we had to invest time, energy, and resources necessary to restore confidence, not just locally, but trust internationally in our program. And as I said before, I am a definite supporter of this program. And I will not apologize because I know of its potential for transformative development, for empowering our people, and supporting our economic resilience, and of course, our proclaimed prosperity agenda. Rebuilding and launching the program became an obvious priority to us, not just while in opposition, but on assuming office. I admit that we were traumatized, of course, by the US FinCEN advisory of May 2014, and the decision in November 2014 of our long-standing friend and partner, Canada, to impose a visa regime for the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis. In addition, we had heard of other countries mumbling on the integrity of the program. This was dramatic stuff, a clear and potent shot across the stomach, not just for St. Kitts and Nevis, but for all of us in the Caribbean with similar programs. And yet, canceling the program is not an option, because, as the president of the chamber alluded to, this would bring the people of St. Kitts and Nevis untold hardship. Therefore, my government is taking the requisite action, and we are listening to impartial advice. We are engaging our friends, many of whom are here today. And I realize that when one learns from one's mistakes, embraces the concerns and advice of friends, and embark on a genuine effort to change the past behaviors and practices, a lot of positive benefits can result. I also know that an effectively run citizenship and investment program, organized with proper structures and systems, rigid and reliable due diligence practices, transparency, parliamentary or cabinet oversight, and in the full view of public scrutiny, is and can be an invaluable asset of any country. Malta knows it. Cyprus knows it. Canada knows it. The USA knows it. We all have similar programs, even if we call them by different names, and our primary objectives are dissimilar. We encourage our fellow Caribbean countries, such as Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, and Grenada, which are already administering national programs, and others who are considering their own programs, to work with us and with our friends such as Canada, the United States, the United Kingdom, and the EU to build the best programs anywhere. This is a remarkably rewarding industry, poised to grow and benefit many, but opportunity and responsibility must be partners in this enterprise. Therefore, as the industry grows, it must be better managed, staffed with professionals whose work is guided by transparent rules and regulations. We have to work together to frustrate criminal intent, activities, and resources that seek to find any weak link and to exploit it. The establishment of common standards and codes of conduct will ensure that we leave them no avenue to avoid their obligations to our friends and partners, or to play one jurisdiction off against the other, as it's their wont to do. And the sharing of information, best practices, and personnel will allow us to spot and monitor criminals and flag them appropriately. Make no mistake, although we are separate jurisdictions, in bad times, we will all be seen as simply Caribbean jurisdictions. And whatever virus infects an individual jurisdiction, we could easily see the contagion erupt throughout the sub-region. We need only reflect on the case of the Lehman Brothers Investment Bank of 2008. I need not remind you that it is contagiously catastrophic impact on an entire industry with far-reaching global consequences are still present even to this day. It was only through strategic, coherent, and ongoing government intervention on a global scale that the banking industry survived. It would benefit none of us personally or nationally if one of our fellow countries offering the citizenship program ran into difficulties. Therefore, we need concerted and dedicated action now. We can't wait for the horses to bolt and then become overly exercised in trying to fix the fences and the gates. We have to begin visioning exercises to develop prescriptive solutions and remedies, as well as action to show the world that we are not only open for business, but that in terms of transparency and integrity, we also mean business. I believe in part this is what the gathering and the discussion should help to do. And by involving the critical international players, we are saying that in terms of transparency and integrity, we mean business. Hence, I welcome the support of IPSA International in facilitating our presence here this morning to discuss the possible establishment of a framework for a professional association. We need appropriate regulation. We need reliable and proper due diligence from multiple and reputable international sources. We need codes of conduct. We need regimes that sanction offenders. We need ongoing inter and intra-government cooperation. We need to share best practices and relevant information. And importantly, we need good leadership. But we must work together. Our response to the onslaught on our offshore financial sector taught us that we are better together and unity is our strength. In conclusion, my friends, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you would allow me a few moments. I just want to speak to a local concern that could eventually have a regional impact. It concerns the very pressing issue of the pace of processing applications. And I know some providers and developers are here. Many of you with us today probably have questions as to what my government plans to do to address this critical issue. Certainly, my focus since becoming Prime Minister has been to restore the credibility of our program. However, I want to assure you that credibility also means ensuring that people have confidence that when we say we will deliver a product in a certain period, we deliver. Please know that every effort is being made to eliminate the delays that this necessary and urgent process has brought about. Our reforms of the Citizenship Unit will lead to greater efficiency being experienced. In St. Kitts and Nevis, we are committed to running the best CBI program. This means one distinguished for its efficiency as well as its integrity. We hope that when we would have made all the necessary internal, administrative, and infrastructural adjustments and put the necessary changes in place, St. Kitts and Nevis will again retake its place as the leader in the CBI program throughout the world. My commitment to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis is to maintain the highest standards of any program and to deliver the product in a reliably consistent and timely manner. We can and will do both. I also issue a challenge to my fellow Caribbean jurisdictions, not only to hold me to my word, but also to do even better than St. Kitts and Nevis does in this regard. I look forward to a series of very fruitful discussions today and tomorrow, and to working with you all to accomplish these important and necessary aims. I thank you all for your time, and I hail the relevance of what we are attempting to do today. Long live the collaborative regional action. May God bless us all.
Thank you, Prime Minister Harris. We're going to take just a short break as we set up for the next speakers. So about 10 minutes, please, and we'll be just making a change up here, and we'll get the program underway again. Thank you.